Let us start with an amazing statistic. Since the 1986-87 season, India men have lost only 3 bilateral test series at home. This is the fewest for any side in the world. India's 3 defeats have all come against strong teams. In the 1990s, South Africa had the best win-loss ratio among all teams. In the 2000s, Australia had the best win-loss ratio among all teams. That Australian side was one of the greatest teams in the history of Test cricket. So since 2009, before the India tour, England had won the Ashes in Australia and drawn series in South Africa and Sri Lanka. In all, India have played 52 test series over this period of time. This streak has very few parallels in men's test cricket in the last 50 years. This phase includes 2 streaks of over 10 years when India did not lose a test series at home. To go a decade without losing a test series at home is incredible. In the last 50 years, there have been only 5 10-year streaks where a side did not lose a single test series at home. India won 2 global ODI trophies in the first half of the 1980s. But they had a very ordinary phase in Test cricket. India then beat England in Bombay to end that streak in 1984-85, but India lost that series too. They then failed to beat Australia at home. They only beat Sri Lanka, who had started playing Test cricket only 4 years ago and had never won away from home. India also lost to Pakistan. It was not a great time to be a fan of the Indian Test side. The fans had no idea that they were about to embark upon 3.5 decades of home dominance. In 1987-88, India played a test series against the West Indies. Again, an outstanding team. After 3 test matches, the West Indies were up 1-0. There was only 1 test match left in the series in Madras. In the last 21 test matches between the 2 sides, India had beaten the West Indies only once. That was when the West Indies played a second-string side in the Kerry Packer era. Captain Dilip Vengsaka was injured for this crucial test match. He had scored 200s in the series, but he missed the last test match. India now fielded an army of spinners. Left-arm spinner Ravi Shastri was the stand-in captain. There was off-spinner Arshad Ayub and a debutant leg spinner Narendra Hirwani. Hirwani took 16 wickets. His figures are still a world record for a debut. India drew the series. The streak began. India beat New Zealand next in 1988-89. Over the next 4 seasons, India played only 1 test match at home against Sri Lanka in 1990-91. By then, India had a new captain who would change their fortune. India played 12 bilateral test series at home in the 1990s. They won 9 and didn't lose a single one. Azharuddin led India in 8 out of these 12 test series, 19 of the 29 tests. Sachin Tendulkar led India in the other test matches. In the same decade, India did not win a single series outside the Indian subcontinent, not one. But at home, they were invincible. That was largely because they had a great spinner. In the 1990s, Ganguly had an excellent record. But at home, his numbers were plain absurd. Ganguly had 2 partners in crime. Towards the end of the decade, India found a teenage off-spinner. Harbhajan played only 8 tests in the 1990s, but in the 2000s, he went on to become one of India's leading wicket-takers. But spin was not all that India had in the 1990s. They had one of their greatest fast bowlers of all time. Fast bowlers usually don't do well on Indian soil, but Javagal Srinath was not the usual fast bowler. Srinath was not the only one either. Both Kapil and Prabhakar could bat. Prabhakar even opened batting, and even after them, India found a seamer who did well at home in the 1990s. Throughout the 1990s, the Indian bowlers did much better than touring bowlers on Indian soil. But after Kapil Dev and Manoj Prabhakar retired, their new seamers were mostly tail-enders. India thus had to play the extra batter. At the same time, the Indian batting was changing. Some stars of the 1980s were gone by 1993, but some remained. And new ones arrived. And in 1996, India found 3 batters who would play for them for most of the next 10-15 years. So deep was the Indian batting that they now had to use Lakshman as opener until Azharuddin's career was over. In 2000, India had a new captain and they kept winning at home. Under Ganguly, India ended Australia's streak of 16 consecutive test match wins. At Kolkata in 2000-2001, India won a test match even after following on. VVS Lakshman made 281, Rahul Dravid 180, Harbhajan Singh took 13 wickets. India won the next test match too in Madras. Sachin Tendulkar got 126, Harbhajan took 15 wickets this time. Under Ganguly, India lost only one test series at home. This is the only test series India has lost against Australia since 1969-70. This is also the last test series India lost at home in the decade. India had a solid middle order. A wicketkeeper who could bat better than almost any of his predecessors. And an opener who could change the course of a test match in a single session. Towards the end of the decade, Sehwag found a capable opening partner. This was the decade of batting, era of big scores. Indian bowling suffered, but their 2 spinners did magnificently at home. Of the touring spinners with 10 wickets, only Jason Kreza averaged under 30, and Kreza played only 1 test match. None of the other touring spinners did well. But India did not have a great fast bowler at home in this decade. Their pacers were bowling brilliantly overseas, but at home, they largely relied on the spinners. That changed in the 2010s. Indian spinners had always done well at home, but in this decade, they became even better. At the same time, the fast bowlers stepped up. The opposition batters had no respite. India had been winning at home earlier as well, but now they reached another level. The Indian batters simply piled on more misery over this period. The old guard did well in their last days in Test cricket. And new heroes stepped up too. The decade went on, India reverted to their once rejected plan of 5 bowlers. 3 spinners, 2 fast bowlers became the norm at home. They could do that because now they found several bowlers who could bat. Towards the end of the decade, India found a wicketkeeper who could not only score big but also get runs very quickly. The ultimate all-rounder of the new era Indian team. Batting lineup that rarely fails at home, an attack with 5 world-class bowlers. India were a very strong side at home even before 2010, but now they became even stronger. In this period, India have lost only 1 test series at home. Apart from that, they have lost only 3 tests since the start of 2010. India are one of the strongest sides at home in the history of Test cricket. In the last 10 years, they have lost only 2 Test matches. And they won both series comfortably. Australia have not lost a single Test series anywhere in the world in over 4 years, except to India, at home twice. History is against Australia. This is going to be their toughest tour in a long time.